All right, so did you guys get Wave 2 in Canada?
Hey, let's introduce the show first. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Aftercast, episode 15, the late night Transformers video podcast. I'm your host, Victory Saber 77, or James. You guys want to introduce yourselves, and we can get into the topics, starting with our golden boy. Charles is back this week.
I'm Dakota. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube and other places at PrimalSabbath.
That's number 2. Go ahead, Charles.
I'm Charles. You can find me on Twitter at Optimus4Prez, and Xbox Live is AutoCon365.
Chris?
You can find me at Barraprom Games on YouTube and Facebook.
What man?
You could find me right here. No, I don't know. YouTube Proto Retro, YouTube Protoman Gaming, Protoman X on Twitter, TFCon. If you walk around, you'll see my ugly face. BotCon. If you walk around, you'll see my ugly face. What else? I don't know. TFW.
One does not simply walk around BotCon.
Well, depends which BotCon.
Jay?
You can find me on Twitter at NemesisJazz13.
Josh?
You can find me G1Hextron on YouTube and Twitter, and my Facebook page, the G1Hextron.
And Trans5?
Trans5 at YouTube and Torrance Williams at Facebook.
And remember, you can check us out on our website at www.cybercastnetwork.com and follow us on Twitter at CybercastNet. And like us on our Facebook page, too, which is just Cybercast Network. So, Age of Extinction toys came out. You guys have any good stories? Any hauls? Or any kids you ran over to get to some of these toys?
I can elaborate on one of the Walmarts I stopped at. If no one else has anything they'd like to add.
Tell us about one of those 12 Walmarts.
I have something, but I'll talk after.
All right, so the first Walmart I get to, which is like the closest one to my house, I immediately knew it was going to be a bust, but I just decided to go. And like during, I forgot to take in my video camera, so I was using the camera on my phone, and it died. So I wasn't able to catch all of it, but like I was able to catch the whole. So yeah, these things are supposed to have a May 17th street date. They're supposed to be here now, like right now. And she goes, "Oh no, we're not going to get any of that. We'll get it in like 2 weeks. We haven't even changed it, and they haven't. They didn't change the planogram or anything. Like, there's 3 rows of pegs, and like nothing but construct bots. So I was like, wow.
That hot selling item.
Yeah, I mean, just full of them. She goes, "No, we're not gonna get that for a long time." I was like, "Oh, that's very reassuring." And so she was just like carrying on a 30-minute conversation with how hard Transformers 4 is gonna go. I was like, yeah, okay.
Did you get her number? I mean, you talked to her for 30 minutes. I'm not talking to anyone.
That's the thing.
For 30 minutes.
She seemed a little too adamant about Bayformers, and I just can't have a woman like that in my life.
Gosh.
Now my friend Cody's girlfriend, she's adamant about Beast Wars, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna steal that from you. I was like, don't ever bring her over here and just trust me, because I will betray you. I will be the worst friend I could possibly be. He was like, duly noted.
Right on.
Okay, start screen.
I mean, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, it was interesting. Going through boxes.
How essentially for me, what happened is because Hasbro's been contacting a lot of the reviewers and like the big reviewer guys that they feel, and they've been sending care packages to big websites and big viewers. And I was one of those lucky few that got the care package. Nice. They even put my name on. And so the weird thing is they included, and they sent this to me in April. And when they sent this to me in April, they actually gave me a letter here saying, please don't review these. They said, pretty much April 30th they sent it to me, and they said, there's an embargo on these, so please don't review these until May 8th, and the toys will be everywhere May 17th, they said. So essentially, and I sat on these. I honestly did, because, I mean, I wasn't like, oh my god. So like in the care package they gave 1 liter class Optimus here, which okay, whatever. They sent the Voyager Grimlock, which okay, whatever. They sent Slug, which is okay, whatever.
Wow.
And here was the one that everyone was flipping out when I told them I got this one. I opened it. It was the only one I opened. Drift, which is Wave 2. And it was hilarious because, like, I don't know why everyone's so excited about it, but
It's a wrecker. I get it. Don't get me started on how much I need that wrecker.
I did a review of this toy, and everyone was getting so angry that I didn't transform it. But I want to show you something, okay? This is the robot mode. You just, like, fold one piece, and there's half the car, okay? Just to give you an idea. Like, one piece. One piece. Okay? Like, I don't know. These toys, there's some interesting engineering cues that are different from this time around, from all the crap that I've messed with. I mean, now they have ratchet joints, loud ratchet joints on deluxes, which is interesting, at least with this one.
Generations Bumblebee had ratchets for his elbows too.
Like really heavy ratchet joints. Like I don't remember that one.
Mine are pretty thick. I mean, I don't know if that's just mine or I mean.
I messed with mine like once, and it was already in robot mode because of the packaging. So I don't know if the American packaging also had them in robot mode, but so it just I don't know. Like they seem okay. I messed with my friend's Grimlock. He picked it up and stuff, but it's just they're really expensive, these toys, because now they showed up everywhere, and we have that big, crazy display that has literally everything on it at Toys R Us and Walmart. Yeah. And, I mean, in Canada, I guess we'll call these the complex deluxes, which aren't really complex, but the complex deluxes are $16.99. The more simplistic deluxes, because they do the ones that are like, I don't know, they're 3 steps instead of 16. Those ones are $14.99, and then like I mean, this here is $70, and
wow,
yeah, I know. Well, that's just it. So, and I mean, because of how I've always had to collect Transformer toys, because of how expensive it is in Canada. Not to mention, Quebec has 13% sales tax. 13%.
Whoa.
That's our healthcare for you. You know, when people go, well, you can go to Canada and get free healthcare. Well, that's where it comes from when you have 13% sales tax.
I like my 8.25 sales tax.
Well, there you go. Well, most of the United States it ranges. I know it ranges between 8 and some places even 3, and sometimes 0 for clothing. But in general, it's 13%, at least in Quebec, in the province of Quebec and in Montreal. So, I mean, when you're talking like a deluxe like this, and it's $16.99 plus 13% sales tax, that comes to $21. You buy 4 deluxes, man, are you in the hole in terms of money, let alone if you bought the whole wave. And I mean, I knew people in Montreal who just bought everything that's been out thus far. And I'm like, geez, man, like, I mean, stuff like this is going to be at, like, TFCon for, like, $5 loose on a table. Why are you spending $21 now just to, like, mess with it now? I mean, I don't even know where the hype is anyways, because the movie's not going to be out till July anyways. So you're pretty much picking up a toy of a character that you have no emotional association with yet because you haven't seen the movie. You know, you don't. I mean, for all we know, Drift might have one line.
Yeah.
And not say shit.
Here's the thing.
Exactly.
I'm worried that he's going to be the side swipe of the movie where he's going to show up, he's going to have his one line, his one scene, and he's going to have 40 different toys. You know. And
in my head, he speaks Japanese throughout the entire movie, and he has at least 45 minutes of dialogue.
So, hey, you know who his voice is, right?
Yeah, it's a stereotype, and I'm sure they're like he needs to speak Japanese the entire movie.
Because Michael Bay hasn't done racist Transformers before, so you know it has to happen. But so he pissed off black people, Jewish people. He did British people, so we got to have a Japanese guy who speaks really bad English. Chinese people did crazy stuff in his movies, you know, so he's pissed off everybody. So he has to hit that quota. Oh, there's Koreans in that movie too, so he's gonna do that also.
Then you got the Vietnam War veteran.
Oh yeah, there you go.
His cigar and his mangly beard.
Michael Bay is basically the Donald Sterling of the movie.
Gosh.
He doesn't get an air conditioner thrown at him, which was during filming, so that says a lot about him. But again, what I want to like literally tell everyone is that I know that right now it's on the shelves and it's tempting you. And in all honesty, out of all the stuff that's come out in retail that I saw, the only stuff I bought was the Creos, because those are something I'm like, okay, they're $9. How much cheaper are they gonna get? Like that's when I buy Transformers in retail, I usually buy stuff that a liquidation price probably won't, like a Legion class Legend stuff. I don't go, well, I'm going to wait till they're $1 each. That's not going to happen. So I usually stick with, like leader classes I avoid completely. And the best example of that was Dark of the Moon. When Dark of the Moon came out, I avoided like 99% of that line. And then we have all these big clearance house kind of places. We have like they're called JRC. They're called big lots in the States and stuff. But when Dark of the Moon was already like a year old, all those clearance places started getting Leader Class Sentinel, Leader Class Ironhide, Leader Class Bumblebee, and they were all like $21. And when you're talking $70 in Canada, now $20. You could understand why I wait. And I mean, Sentinel Prime, his leader class was one that was kind of worth getting. That one's not like, worthwhile character, was featured in the movie, pretty good toy. But even then, $70? If you buy 2 leader classes, you know what $140 buys you of Transformers on eBay? Like I was just telling someone on Twitter just before, because they were like, I want to buy all the deluxes from Age of Extinction. And I was like, you know what? With that money you're dropping to get the whole first wave of Age of Extinction, go and buy G1 Overlord, And I'll tell you something, because a year from now, you're going to look at that G1 Overlord and go, fuck yeah, I picked up G1 Overlord, and it's still worth that. And then you look at those Age of Extinction toys a year from now and go, oh my god, what the hell was I thinking? I just dropped $500 on Mr. Half Car here, like... It's just, it's ridiculous, and that's
crazy.
So and just be patient, because when it comes to movie toys, you're gonna get pulled into the hype. And right now we're it's May. It's May and the movie's in July. We have 2 months before we could even make a real conscious decision if we want any of this because of fiction. Because fiction, in my opinion, is what really dictates why we buy certain figures. We see a Dinobot character in Beast Wars, you go, wow, he's cool, you want the toy more than before the fact. Sure, engineering and it looking cool has something to do with it also, but I find that character development also influences us picking up stuff. I'm pretty sure a lot of us wanted that Camaro B toy a lot more after seeing the Michael Bay movie, the very first one, than before the fact. And
you don't understand, though. I want that drift.
Okay.
Okay. Kind of going on Daniel's point there is, like, we talked about this on Cybercast, to where right now they're like, there's a huge hype. They're like, there was hype before these guys even came out, because some were breaking street dates and people were like paying, X times amounts of what the figure actually costs to get them early, whether they're a reviewer, a collector, or I don't know, they just wanted them right then, but.
Like, if you were a YouTube reviewer, okay, I get it. You're doing the Sean Long thing, buying a, animated, what was his name there? Animated Blitzwing for $170. Okay, I get that, because you're going to make your ad revenue from doing the video and being the first one to get. That's cool. But if you're a dude that's just going to open it up at home and play with it and then put it on your shelf, and then 2 months later everyone else is going to have it, but you paid $170 and I'm going to pay only $20, now you're crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
But you're gonna see that you see that spike right now. Like, everyone is going to the stores to buy them, so you're gonna see that spike, and then you're gonna see it start to go down a little bit, and then the movie comes out. You're gonna see it go to its peak. Once the movie comes out, because like you said, you see the character, and now there's that that story about Drift or these Dinobots, and the one it's gonna end up. Well, hang on. The ones that are going to be the Dinobots right now, everybody wants to buy all of them. But whenever the movie comes out, maybe it's just these Dinobots that are actually in the movie, and these other ones are just kind of those throw-ins.
Yeah.
Like we've seen with some of the other movies. It's going to end up being, after the movie, that those Dinobots that are actually in the movie are more expensive than the other ones. So
well,
yeah.
let's put it this way. I'm pretty sure every single person in this chat is going to probably see the movie either on the first day or you're going to probably see it on the midnight viewing or whatever. You're going to see it first day or before. So I'm pretty sure that after you see that movie on the midnight showing of the first day, you'll make your decision then, and then you'll race to Toys R Us and get what you need before any kids ask their mom for Slug or before any crazy collector, you know, goes in there and scalps all the Voyager Grimlocks. And let me tell you something. There has not been a single movie toy right up to this very moment that has been like must get and then later on was impossible. Even Camaro B, when it first came out, the 2009 Camaro during the 2007 movie, it was scalped to death. It was being put on eBay for crazy money when it was in retail. And now, $5 if you're lucky. If you're lucky, you could sell that Camaro B for $5. Because there's no major rush to get anything. I understand like that. If you have for me, I always feel that if it's a character you really like, and then I could understand that. I could understand that completely. If you really, really, really want to own that character, then yeah, that's fine. But to just go crazy and buy everything is, I mean, regardless if you know that even if the movie's going to be any good, I mean, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
That's a whole other story. I mean, what if the movie sucks? That's a scary thing to think about too. On top of all of that, you know, and not to mention like these toys too. Like this Drift being a blue car, it doesn't look like Drift in the movie. Like Drift in the movie isn't that. I mean, so maybe even if you want to get the best representation of that character you like, maybe the car release later on is going to be a better way to go about it. And instead of paying that, whatever it'll cost in the States, $14, $12 for that box, maybe it'll be worth it to pay that $20 plus shipping to get the Takara version. That'll be better and more show accurate, or you know, it's like a Buster Prime kind of scenario where everyone wanted that Buster Prime when it came out because it was, you know, there was all these Optimus toys that were available, but that was the one you had to have.
Yeah.
You know? So it's just patience. Like, I'm serious. All of that stuff is at my fingertips right now in Toys R Us, and I've bought nothing except Creos. That's it.
Has Wave 2 hit Canada?
No, nothing has hit Canada. The Wave 2. Again, people assume it because I did the review of this.
No. I know that, but you know, I figured since it hit Singapore, like Wave 1 and 2, like was in Singapore.
Well, that's also near where the factories are, so I wouldn't be surprised in that case.
Yeah. But then again, like all these places have been sitting on this stock for several weeks now, too.
Well, if I was getting if this was sent to me in April, you know, then obviously it's been sitting in the package in the factories for a while now. So,
yeah.
And for all you know, they could be sitting in boxes right now in Toys R Us with a different street date release. But usually with these first waves of any major line, whether it be animated, Prime, it usually takes a while for that to dry out before they get a Wave 2, which is something that's also going to be kind of scary because they really went crazy this time, at least from what I've seen. Like, they really got a crazy amount of stock of that first wave of movie toys. So let's hope it sells really well, because if it doesn't, we're not going to see Wave 2.
See, and I wonder if that's just a regional thing, because, you know, my area, and I know quite a few of the surrounding areas, I mean, you know, most places were lucky to get one case of deluxes. Couple places got, you know, 2 cases of leaders, but it was mostly just a case of Voyagers. One place had a case of deluxes, and then, you know, either a case of leaders or 2 cases of leaders.
Well, I know that the reports for Walmart, it was kind of like you just said, like they would walk in and they'd be like, okay, the Voyager stuff is here, and that one-button flip changer kind of...
yeah, those came in too.
Those were there. But then every Toys R Us that I've gone to personally, it's been a wall of everything. Every Creo, every Constructabot from TF4, even those Titan class, non-transformable, like 12-inch.
Oh, God.
Every single thing is at Toys R Us. And I'm lucky because Montreal is a big metropolitan city, and like I got like 4 Toys R Us's and a billion Walmarts to go through. But I could understand maybe your smaller regional places, it's not so much the case. You know?
And then there's Target pushing their date back to tomorrow, and I noticed that Target had Wave 2 Deluxes in their system, their online system on their website, but it wasn't available for to purchase, and also their Wave 1 and Wave 2 stuff shows that it's still unavailable in store, but I have a feeling after midnight tonight, give or take, that could possibly change once you do that.
Possible.
So some places I know for movie 1 got wave 2, some places got wave 1, some places got both. Varying on region or whatever. But that was even, in the North American region. So that could potentially be something. If I had to guess, like maybe Target is probably going to be the place to go, or Amazon. Who knows?
Well, again, if you're that, let me tell you something. The place to go will probably be either one of the 2 conventions coming up. Because there'll be plenty of that there. There's going to be plenty of that there. Granted, it'll be marked up, but I'm glad that TFCon is the later one, because any figures that's why I'm also kind of holding off, because I totally see it. There's going to be like a loose Crosshairs that's been opened already, because people are buying it now. So 2 months from now, when TFCon rolls around, I know it. There's going to be someone on someone's table or at the parts party. Someone bought Crosshairs and went, "Man, what a piece of shit! What was I thinking?" And they're going to literally put it in a Ziploc bag, and it's going to be like $5. And that's when I'm going to buy it, because I see that all the time, and if anything, if there's one thing that has regret purchases, it's movie toys, more than anything. No one has regret purchases of Generation toys or Masterpiece toys or even mainline toys that are based off of cartoons like Prime and animated. There's less so of a regret, but movie toys, go to any buy, sell, trade thread in TFW, Cybertron, Cybertron.ca. It's always people going, "Well, I'm blowing out my collection. Movie toys, movie toys, movie toys."
Yes, sir.
And,
yes, sir.
and it's like, why did I buy Wreckage? He wasn't even in the movie. Why did I buy, this guy? Why did I buy that guy? Human Alliance, the smaller ones. Why did I buy these? It's all going to be movie toys. So just wait. Just wait. Like I said, if you really want Drift, and it's because you love, the original G1 character or even the Micron character, I could understand that. Same way how I run out and buy Rodimus toy, but in general, I would wait.
Oh, see, that's the thing. I'm not getting on eBay and paying $35 for Drift.
Hell no! Hell no!
I'm not gonna pay. I'm not even gonna pay markup for him at BotCon in a dealer room. That's the thing. Like, I'm comfortable with waiting for him to hit retail.
Parts party though. You go to a parts party, I get a feeling that you're going to have people because the beautiful thing with the parts parties at BotCon is you have guys that show up with their suitcases, and they're going to open up and go, "Here's all my regrets." Yeah. I don't know why I bought Slug. I thought it said Slag. It said Slug, and like you're gonna have
I know
that.
Tuesday I'm going to Megamus's first day.
Oh yeah, of course. That is for anyone that is the parts party to go to.
Oh yeah.
That is.
I think Mike or Autobot City Comics 2008. Think they're having a parts party in their room too.
Well, the good thing with BotCon is, especially with the Pasadena one, because the location is very close knit and it's really good. Right at the entrance of the hotel, there's a corkboard, and on that corkboard is literally this little come to room so-and-so and so, I'm selling my bag set. Come to this one, I'm selling G1 toys. So literally people are, they put little messages for everyone, and anyone that has big parts parties, they leave big signs. Obviously Megamus puts his there. But so that's the good thing is you're going to have this giant corkboard where if there's anything you're really looking for, some people literally, they'll post an entire stapled list of all the toys they're selling and go, if you're interested, come to room 467 and, check stuff out. And when you have your Thursday where the dealer room's not open yet and there's nothing really to do outside of hanging out with friends and stuff, but you have that money burning a hole in your wallet, it's like you're at BotCon but you haven't bought anything yet except your exclusives, and you don't want to open those yet until you get home.
Yeah.
Just, I want to buy something. You go to that corkboard and you literally hit up all these different rooms until 2 a.m. in the morning. I remember Megamis, I think it was last year, its hotel security actually had to close, tell him to go to bed because all the people were coming to his room and there was a lineup outside his room because you can only fit so many people in there, and they were disturbing all the other hotel people because imagine it's 2 a.m. in the morning, everyone's supposed to be sleeping, and yet the hotel hallway to Megamus's room had this huge line. Everyone's talking and laughing and stuff and keeping everyone up, and then the hotel had to set up security to go, hey guys, let's call it quits for tonight. So
That's how me and Jam are gonna be. We're gonna be like, "You kids, get off my lawn! Time to go to bed
You
here."
know,
I need my 8 hours of sleep.
it's
you would think, they would put all of us in the same block, like any just non fun pub rate hotel stayers.
well, last BotCon was happening at the exact same time as a scrapbooking convention
Oh,
and a
God.
theater convention. Anyone who that was because it was so weird because you have like one group of, and then like the year before that it was like there was an Indian wedding happening at the same time.
Oh, in 2012 there was that and the fitness convention.
Yeah, so it's just like it just had this like weird groups of people. They were just like, what's going on here? You know, like Brian Savage really picks weird times to do BotCon. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, the hotel block thing, they don't really have a rhyme or reason behind it. Not to mention, I believe everything's sold out way before.
No, it didn't really like. What they did was the first allotment sold out, and then like in December, that's whenever they opened up the rest or whatever, or added the extra blocks to it.
So there was more.
And,
Okay, because
and then it sold out like very
I always have
shortly.
someone that gets a hotel room and then decides later if they want to go to BotCon, but they just get it just in case. And so I'm always able to like take it off of him if needed. So it wasn't an issue for me, but I know that it was pretty crazy for a lot of people at first. And how they guessed Pasadena was hilarious too, but that's a whole other story that I'll say off the air. But let's just say it's not PC.
I think you told it to us, and
Yeah. Yeah. But again, the movie toys. I mean, I guess Grimlock looks kind of cool. I don't know. Like it's one of those things that I really need to see the actual character that's based off of in the movie, and then I'll pass judgment on the toys afterwards. I mean, and clearly there already is a lot of figures of stuff that's not in the movie. Like we know Crosshairs is in the movie, we know Hound is in the movie, we know have we seen Slug at all?
we haven't seen the only Dinobots we've seen is Strafe and Grimlock, right?
Yeah.
Grimlock, okay.
I thought we
Like,
saw.
I mean, I haven't watched all the trailers, but so it's just, I mean, Drift too. We know he's in the movie from Car Stuff. Optimus, we know. Bumblebee, we know. Lockdown, we know. Not Megatron, Galvatron.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just trying to think of movie toys that are out on the shelves right now that we haven't seen.
Can we talk about that Galvatron for a second too?
God, no.
That thing looks.
All right, that's one of my favorite characters. That's one of my top 3 favorite characters. And my God, does he just look so bland?
You know what's hilarious? If you look at his alt mode and then you look at Cybertron Armor Hide, which was
Yeah.
it is 100% like they literally it's the 100% the same alt mode right down to the weather vane and everything, and it's just they did a black repaint of that like when Target had their exclusive Cybertron toys as repaints as movie toys where they had like RC and Warpath and stuff. Well, they called it Warpath using the jack shot mold, but it's a weird design. It's weird because like Megatron was a truck in the last movie, but that toy was awesome at least, because it had the cloak and everything. This time around, it's like, oh, Galvatron. Is it Megatron? Is it not? We don't know. But he's a truck, a black truck. So, and it's a very boring looking black truck, So.
You know what's funny about that?
I honestly think that's going to happen with like Galvatron is because like he's remote controlled by like the humans. They took over him and did crazy things to his mind, was what's been said. But my personal opinion is if they do this and okay, this is awesome. At some point, like maybe he regains control. But once he gains control, it's like, really? You've done this? I mean, even if you put me in like a Barbie doll, like sort of uniform, you can't get any worse. But, like maybe he like goes off and he goes to the ship and takes Lockdown ship and rebuilds himself. But
is that some of the suggested script leaks and stuff that people have been talking about, where they get?
No, that's what from where was it? It was you're going back
the
at
last
least
trailer.
It was like 4 episodes ago where they actually said that he's remote controlled by the humans, and they
So
rebuild
then it's
him. And
so
then
then
we
it's
saw
the
in trailer.
Dreamwave comic books, pretty much. If anyone
Yeah.
read the first,
Yeah. Oh gosh, no. I
yeah,
hope
it's
not.
it's the first story of the Dreamwave books where Lazarus was controlling
really?
Megatron and everyone, and then they got
Oh, yeah,
control,
yeah,
and then they
yeah.
turned on their creator. Oh, well, creator.
Speaking of comics, have you all seen the recent More Than Meets the Eye 28?
Well, I don't want to talk about that stuff.
Never mind. I'm
Well,
sorry.
no,
my bad.
because I help work on that stuff, so I.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm really. That's why I never talk about that on Twitter ever.
Okay.
But those books, well, I'll just say it's the best fiction of Transformers in a long
Yes,
time.
it is, and that's why as long as Michael Bay keeps his claws out of that, I'm fine. I
Well,
really, at this point, don't
you know
care
what,
what
even
they
with
do
the
in the
movie-
movies anymore.
Even with the movie comics, like a
Yes,
lot of
they
that
were
stuff-
good.
A lot of that stuff isn't influenced by Bay. It's more stuff that just IDW gets their in-house. Well, with the exception of a few books, I know that Ulysses McGrant that did the Tales of the Allspark stuff was horrible, but in general, a lot of those books are pretty good. And when they
You know
get
what I mean?
Alex Milne to draw it, or even when it was Dan Kahana doing some of them, they're good. And the good thing too with the movie adaptations in the past were they were usually early script drafts, and so you got cut out scenes. Like the death of Barricade was in the comic book adaptation of the first movie, or the twins getting killed by Sentinel Prime. That was actually in the comic book adaptation.
Mm.
of the
Really?
third-
Yep.
Yeah, they were actually killed. Like Sentinel shot, I think it was Skids, and then Mudflap's like, "You killed my brother!" And then he just shoots the other one, and it's just that would have been good. If that was
Which is funny, 'cause in the movie-
rubble on the floor.
In the
Yeah.
movie, you see those two. You see the two of them like right there, very shortly before that scene, just in vehicle mode.
and then you never see them again.
Yeah.
So
I wanna know what happened to
tiny
Joel.
little pieces all spread across the floor, like before he kills Ironhide.
yeah, so and that's just it. So that's kind of the good thing with the IDW books is that when they do movie stuff, it's more of a doorway to other things that you get to check out.
I tell you what I really love. I love the comics that were like a prequel to the movies when they were still on Cybertron before the big
Yeah.
fallout.
Yeah.
That was classic. If they had did a
Defiance.
movie of that, I would have been all in.
Defiance was a really good book, which talked
Yes.
about the Fallen and everything, and then there was also Reign of Starscream, which was kind of like our unofficial sequel at the time, which again he went back to Cybertron.
I still have that one.
Yeah, that was a good one too. That was Alex Milne, and I believe it was McCartney wrote it. Jesse McCartney. I'm trying to think of what else there was, but there was a lot of good ones. There was also a few not Tale of the Allspark. There was Defiance. What was I think the other was called Alliance. Was the other one, which was the Autobot one with the humans. That one was okay. I guess when we're out in Cybertron, we appreciate it a lot more because it gives us something the movie really doesn't give us, which is a lot of robot screen time.
Characterization of the robots, yeah.
Yeah. Which, man, see, and again, that's why I'm not super hyped about this movie, because I'm just so worried that it's going to be a lot more of Optimus. We're going to get plenty of Optimus Prime. There's no doubt about that. But we always get plenty of Optimus Prime. But it's just, I mean, and we're going to get probably plenty of Bumblebee, who's not going to talk. So, and that's where I'm just like, at that point, it's like Crosshairs, maybe one line. Hound, maybe one or two lines. He's our new, Ironhide, perhaps, because he looks like he's guns.
And his cigar. Don't forget the cigar.
Yeah, and a
He's
cigar.
Like up and Ironhide mixed. It's
with
great.
a little bit of bulkhead thrown in.
Oh yeah, totally.
When are we gonna get our Wheelie Prime though? I mean, I'm looking for that Wheelie Prime.
Wheelimus Prime. One day.
Honestly, man, I like Mark Wahlberg as an actor. Like I like Mark Wahlberg so much more than I like Shia LaBeouf.
Well,
and it's like I'm okay with whatever happens. Because I know Mark Wahlberg's gonna act circles around, Shia LaBeouf and all those other no-name actors from the first three films, with the exception of like Tyrese Gibson and Josh Duhamel. But other than that, it's like, I don't know. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like my standards are low, but I just want Drift.
The last trailer that came out. What was it? This week.
Trailer?
Well, no, it's trailer number 2.
Yeah, they call it the playoff.
I don't know is it called playoff? Okay, we put it up on the front page. Anyways, I watched that, and I watched Mark Wahlberg's, whoever his character's name is, his daughter says like, Dad, like she's crying out for Dad at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, I
like,
noticed that.
Trailer. And I'm like, is this gonna be like just I'm damsel, in distress type thing, like the whole movie? Dad, come save me!
And
I just saved you 5 minutes ago. My God, go move somewhere.
That was the sad thing about Dark of the Moon, because that was the case with the previous female character, where it's like, oh, she's kidnapped, Shia's got to go rescue her, and that's all we want in a Transformers movie, a fist fight among the humans. That we're going to dedicate 15 minutes of the movie to that.
Yeah.
And I can understand you have the human characters that are military against the Transformers. Okay, you give me my G.I. Joe versus Transformer thing. I'll sit through that. But I don't need the mom talking about saving your sex life or something while they're taking their bus tour across America. A happy wife is some, or whatever the fuck the line was. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff that really should have been phased out of the series of the trilogy by the second movie. That's the stuff that I think Bay should have realized. Okay, we don't really need to focus on these characters as much. Even a George Lucas knew it's time to phase out Jar Jar by the time he got to Episode 3. He learned a little bit from his. It wasn't a good movie, Episode 3. I don't want to get into that topic, but the point is that mistakes were learned through that curve. And I was hoping that by movie 4, at least, we learned what works, what doesn't work. Especially Revenge of the Fallen was a big we could learn stuff from, where it's like you could give them robot action, but don't make it just a bloody mess of, like, we're standing here, we got to get to that pyramid over there, and that's going to take us an hour. But yet we're totally surrounded by a bunch of cars that could turn in, a bunch of robots that could turn into cars and drive us there. But no, we're going on foot. Because Ironhide here, he's totally like an off-road pickup truck by GMC who could totally just blast through that sand, no problem. But no, I'm going to go on foot with my broken hand and my model girlfriend who runs like this with her 2 little high heels, And we're totally going to get to that pyramid with my little, sock of sawdust here, So, it's just, that was, like, when I saw Revenge of the Fallen, I saw the first movie, 3 times in theater. When I saw Revenge of the Fallen, I was like, you know what, once is enough. Once was enough. That was, you really fall out of a movie, like you're not engulfed in it anymore when you stop and then you start looking around the movie theater going, like, you fucking serious? Like we still got another hour of this, I
fell asleep in Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah, it was
in the theater. Like I went to one of those theaters where you can you have a waitress and you order food and beer and stuff like that. But I literally had the lady come down and be like, okay, 2 things. 1, you need to wake up because we need to get people in here to clean. 2nd, I need you to pay your tab.
Wow.
And I was just like. I fell asleep, I think, right before the forest scene or whatever.
But the movie hasn't even gotten rolling at that point.
yeah, I had fallen asleep then and slept through the whole thing. So.
And see, I'm not going to base an entire movie off of the trailers, but I'm just hoping that the pace is good. I'm just hoping that the human thing is. If it does exist, it exists for a reason. Shia was like, oh, hey, I'm seeing things. So we got, in the first movie, it was like, your granddad had the glasses. That's why we're coming to see you. In the second movie, it's, oh, crap, I'm seeing things. So we need you to come with us. And then I got my Allspark dust, so I need to bring that to Optimus.
You're your brake rotor dust from turning rotors.
In the third movie, it was kind of like, do we still need you around? Now it's like, aside from your girlfriend getting kidnapped by a guy who's secretly working with the Decepticons, there was no real reason for that cast to come back again. If anything, you could have just focused on the army half with Tyrese and Josh the rest of the movie, and Shia didn't really even have to be there.
Because all he did was job hunt for the entire movie.
Well, that's it. So I worry that, again, even though you might like Marky Mark, as I still like to call him.
Oh, yes. That bunch ain't ever going to not be funky.
As much as you like him, my worry is that outside of him, attaching some jumper cables to Optimus Prime and then the government coming to see him, are they really going to serve a purpose in this movie? That moves.
All right, Daniel, you can get out of the hangout now.
I worry about that though. I really do because all I'm seeing the same thing. It's running with explosions behind them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which right away tells me, crap, it's just them cheerleading on the side and occasionally getting caught up in this crazy bullshit.
Man, there was that other in that other trailer when the government agents walked up and he was like, you know what they say about messing with Texans, right? And I'm like, yes. Pull a gun out, Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
Find your teddy bear and pull a gun out. Your trash-talking teddy bear.
Well, here's something. Do you think the Dinobots will be properly represented in this movie? Since a lot of people have been, wanting the Dinobots and the hype behind it. I mean, those are going to be the most popular toys, it seems like.
I hope so.
I think the Dinobots are going to be relevant at the very end.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the big cliffhanger. Is you're going to finally. I think we'll get Grimlock and Swoop or Strafe or whatever for the bulk, like closer to the end of the movie. But I think at the very, very end is whenever we're going to see the rest of them, and they're gonna. That's probably when we'll see the big transformation as well, much like Predaking in Transformers Prime.
I think that. The movie toys are actually spoiling us a little, where we're having that Dino Rider kind of line there, where you have Bumblebee riding one guy, Drifter. I think that there's going to be some kind of like final battle where now all the Dinobots come into one location to fight against the common evil, whatever that evil is. Who knows at this point?
What, they're bringing back Dino Riders?
Well, I call them the Dino Rider line because it's just.
I'll buy them.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have like 3 different Autobots at the moment. There might be more. Who knows? But so far we have like Bumblebee on. I think it's Slug. We have Drift on. No, Bumblebee on Strafe. Drift on Slug and Optimus on Grimlock. And it's like these pull changer toys where they spark behind them or something.
Yeah.
And I think that the Dinobots are going to be something that appears at the end of the movie for the climax, and it's going to be a big, quick, messy action scene like every other Bay movie that has no wide shot. And
is Greg Berger going to even get to say any line?
I wish. And you know what's so sad? You'd be able to get Greg, and he'd be a lot cheaper than one of the Hollywood guys that they'll hire to do Grimlock's voice on top.
Oh, yeah.
Which is
Nathan said they tried Greg, but it was too expensive or something.
What?
No, that's impossible because Greg.
What else does he do?
Greg Berger has. I'll tell you right now. He's done the voice of Odie for Garfield.
Yeah.
He's done the voice of Cornfed from Duckman. He's done. Like, he hasn't done a lot. Like, he's not one of those. He's not a Peter Cullen that's like he has his Disney check for Eeyore, or he's the voice trailer guy in a time in another place. Like he was that guy.
Voltron and stuff like that.
Like before these Bay movies, that's where Peter Cullen's money was coming from, was doing that stuff. So at least in his case, he's a bit of a bigger name. But I mean, when they said and same thing, I could understand saying Frank Welker could be too expensive because Frank Welker does everything.
Yeah, he does.
Every Disney movie you've ever seen, if there was an animal, it was Frank Welker. Apu from not Apu from Aladdin was Frank Welker. A lot of people don't know that. Like, it's just
the sound of a garbage disposal.
He was Raja, the fucking tiger. But it's just, I mean, Greg Berger, I can't believe that. And the sad thing is, even if they can't get Greg Berger, say they get someone else, right? The worst thing is that I don't think they'll do the spirit of the Me Grimlock thing. I think they'll just do. Yeah. It'll be another really dark voice that's like this.
Okay. Do you know how Greg Berger did Grimlock in Fall of Cybertron?
Yes.
That would be a perfect approach for it, because he wasn't all me Grimlock doo-doo head. It was all it was
reminded me of something too, because Greg Berger did Fall of Cybertron, the video game voice acting budget is a lot cheaper than any movie. Like, I remember Scott McNeil, he said that in the voice acting industry, it's big blockbuster movies get the big money. Then the TV shows are the second, and then when you're bottom of the barrel, you're doing the video game stuff. And the video game stuff on top of it, it's the most, you have to work the hardest, but it's the least amount of pay. And that's why also, like, a lot of voice actors avoid it. But so that right away says it also. Greg's probably not that expensive if he did Fall of Cybertron. You know,
Yeah.
Fall of Cybertron wasn't a Grand Theft Auto multi-million-dollar production, you know, that had all this money put into it. It was just a sequel to the War for Cybertron game, and they try to get as many voice actors as they can. But I'm also reminded of, like, in animated, Grimlock was voiced by David Kaye. You know, the voice of Beast Wars Megatron, and obviously he was Optimus Prime in the TV series. And, you know, I mean, when David Kaye did Grimlock, he channeled Greg Berger. You know, he did that Grimlock. So I don't see why, even if they don't get Greg Berger, that they can't at least have that spirit there. But unfortunately, up to this point, there hasn't been a single character in the Bay movies, with the exception of Peter Cullen, that has voiced their character like their original interpretation. Ironhide was not a Southerner Texan kind of.
I thought Frank was actually confirmed for Galvatron.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is.
But
You
then,
got
but
John
then
Goodman for Hound, which I think is
then you
a
have to
good
ask yourself,
matchup.
so you have Frank for Galvatron. So does that mean you want your season 3 Galvatron from
Yes.
G1?
Or do you want Transformers Prime Megatron?
Or, you know, well, that's just it. Or do you want like, you know, but, which is a shame because we don't have Leonard Nimoy this time around, who would have been, you know, I mean, hey, he was pretty good for Sentinel Prime, I guess, but I mean, at the same time, like, when I think of my favorite voice for Galvatron, it was Leonard Nimoy from the '86 movie. I think that was where I'm not a big fan of Frank Welker's.
At least it isn't Agent Smith. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Let's count our blessings at this point.
Well,
Season 3 Galvatron is the best Galvatron.
he's
absolutely lunatic.
He's definitely the craziest.
Lunatic,
I
but
want the Matrix. This thing is broken. Get it out of me. I don't know. It was all over the place.
we lost because of your incompetence. You know, getting mad, pounding, biting his troops almost as hard as he's fighting the Autobots. I'm like, yeah. Will somebody overthrow this guy already?
That was the thing that you saw in Web World, where they were like,
Yeah.
he's beating the shit out of us just as much
Webworld.
as he is them. You know?
Web World. And that, so, like, that's up to this point, I think, like, that's why when they announce voice actors and stuff, I don't even get too excited about that. If anything, I kind of hope that, like, look at Wheelie in the movie line. Look at Wheelie. Like, Wheelie is nothing like his G1 counterpart, but I
He was
enjoyed Wheelie.
SpongeBob with cuss words.
But I enjoyed Wheelie, though. I actually liked Wheelie in the second movie. He was one of the more enjoyable characters that I was like, hey, this is a character I enjoy. Called Megan Fox a bitch, you know. I like this character. And lo and behold, one of the more enjoyable characters in the movie, 2 fucking toys. 2 toys he got. A oversized, doesn't work in the scale with nobody deluxe, and a Little Legends toy. Now, that would have been a toy that would have been great. If they did a leader class, you would have had a 1-to-1 scale Wheelie almost. But nope, that's too much of a good idea, I guess.
Yep.
You know.
Made it nice and remote controlled.
There was a character that was enjoyable, and you know, he wasn't a good representation of the G1 character.
Let's make a leader Bumblebee instead.
Oh God, yeah. Like we need more, and that's the sad thing too. I mean, they're probably not going to learn anything from what happened with Transformers Prime with the Sea of Bumblebees. You know.
Yeah.
There's probably going to be.
So far, though, I know the Deluxe Wave 1 case ratio was
it's
one of each figure, or 2 of each figure, excuse me. And there's a revision. There's Wave 2, and there's like Wave 2.5, which is a revision, which I think replaces either Lockdown or Slash with Bumblebee. But so far, it doesn't really seem like they're overpacking that Bumblebee to the cases. It's an even case ratio so far,
and that's a good thing.
That is a great thing.
Okay, because I know that like even with Rescue Bots, they would always make the constant effort to like we got to put one more Bumblebee, and it would short pack someone, and they did the same thing with Transformers Prime Beast Hunters. We have to have one more Bumblebee and short pack something. So
yeah. So far though, it seems like they're not repeating that mistake.
All right, good.
With the supposedly 3 waves that this movie line's going to have.
And it's just, I really hope that there's a market for all that other stuff because like Toys R Us went really crazy with every price point. Like there's a sea of those 1-button things. There's a sea of those Titan classes. There's a sea of those Dino Rider Spark things. So I'm
I think
really
I saw him, man. I just left from Toys R Us before I came here. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and so I'm really wondering, is that stuff going to sell? Because in the past, when we had that weird stuff like the Cyber Stompers or the Bumpin' Battlers, there wasn't a sea of them. You had Cyber Stompers, maybe one or two on the lower shelf. But this one, there was a lot of that stuff, and so I mean that stuff especially is stuff I'm going to be seeing at Big Lots later. That's the stuff that we're going to be seeing.
Yep.
Man, a lot of that. Like what was I think they were called the Power Bots for Dark of the Moon, or they were called something like that, where they were just like figures that had like they didn't transform, but they had like a push gimmick that would be like a gun that would pop up. Those were all on clearance everywhere afterwards.
Yeah, it seems Toys R Us so far is the only retailer that really actually went crazy, because I mean Walmart's have stayed pretty lax on it, and we'll know I guess tomorrow how far Target actually took it.
I think that it's possible that I've only seen one Walmart that went crazy. The other ones are kind of similar to what you were saying before. It's a possibility that it was just workers that were like, Transformer shelf is kind of empty. Let's open up a box of something, and they didn't really know. What they didn't see that paper, or the embargo.
Real quickly, now the Generations line is going to be mixed in with the movie toys, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so when do you think we're going to start, seeing some of these newer, like, let's say Jetfire?
When the dust settles from the movie line.
Pretty much.
Every single movie line, you would not, like 2007, you didn't see animated until really the dust settled. And even then, that first 2007 movie line was so popular that they actually extended it longer and implicated stuff that would have been the classics toys were put into that line. A good example was the Walmart exclusive Big Daddy, and stuff that was supposed to be classics was actually put into the movie line. So that line was extended, and classics was actually like they don't put a big emphasis on their non-fictional based stuff. And sadly, the Generations line, while it is based off of a comic book, a lot of their toys, it's still not the big stuff to them. I don't think they're going to put much of an emphasis on putting that stuff out right away until that movie's out of theaters. Yeah,
I'm glad.
That way.
I'm glad
so
I'm
in other words, So in other words, don't expect to see a deluxe RC in them until like
not for
the holidays. Huh?
Let's put it this way: I get a feeling we're all going to go to BotCon. We're going to get all those big reveals that are going to be the biggest cock teases on the planet, and it's all going to be stuff like, see this stuff? You're not going to see this for a year and a half. Like it's going to they're going to wait till the movie line tames, and then they're going to put all that stuff that we still are waiting for: Rat Trap, Jetfire, all that, all the stuff that we've known for months now that we still haven't seen.
Yeah.
I'm glad I paid $35 for a rat trap, a stolen rat trap. That's probably the best overpriced purchase I've made ever.
But it's just one of those things too, where at the moment there's even some generation stuff that people are still hunting for. That like Cosmos and Swerve. A lot of people have been having difficulty finding it. I found it in one of my Walmarts, but it's only been that like one. I visit many Walmarts. It was that one Walmart that had like a case of them, and that was it. So a lot of people are waiting on that, and I think the movie line's going to come and just completely destroy chances of that for the time being. But then I think when the dust settles, we're probably going to see that afterwards, because it was the same thing too, where a lot of people were having difficulty finding that last wave of, when they had Universe 2.0, they had that very last wave of Legends figures, which had Cosmos, Rodimus, who else was in there? I know there's one animated one. I think it was Starscream? I could be wrong. I'm trying to remember what was in that wave. Wheelie was in that wave, and one other. But it was the same thing. That last wave was really difficult to get. 2009 movie came out, Revenge of the Fallen. No one got it. People started scalping it, and then when the dust settled, all of a sudden they showed up in every Walmart in like mass, and they were like crazy. So it's same thing, that we might not see Generations right away. We might see an overflux of Generation stuff that didn't come yet, or that was like really difficult to get. Like for anyone that still hasn't gotten a Whirl or a Double Dealer yet, or something of that matter.
Devil. I was in Walmart yesterday, and I happened to see one Whirl and one Rhinox.
Yeah.
Oh man, so I've got a Walmart that has like two cases of
Yeah, Rhinox is in a case assortment with Double Dealer. How it works is that Rhinox is, I believe, 2 per case with 1 Double Dealer and 1 Blitzwing still. But Whirl is like a very unique case. He comes in a very special case with just Double Dealer, and a lot of people haven't seen that yet.
Okay, so
Let me
I
put it
haven't
this
seen
way.
Double Dealer yet.
I need to go to my closest Walmart that has 3 Rhinoxes and 3 Whirls, pick them up, and then like just really mess someone's day up for
Do
it.
you want to even know how to, like, here's the trick actually to know it. Every toy on them actually has a case assortment number. Let me find one on this case. Here we go. So this one, see here, it says, let me find the actual case assortment on it, because, wow, they were doing a really shitty job of hiding this one. Oh, here it is. It's right next to the UPC on this case. It says assortment there, case assortment. So you'll actually have a Rhinox that'll have one case assortment number, and then you'll find another Rhinox that has a different case assortment number, and you'll be able to know if this Rhinox that you found in Toys R Us, if it came in a case that had a Double Dealer and a Whirl, or if it didn't. Like, that's actually how you're able to track those and figure it out too. Where it's one of those things where you'll go to a store and you'll see, oh my God, there's a Double Dealer here. That means that it came in a case with specific other characters. So you'll be able to know just by the case assortment. That's like the hardcore, crazy way to figure it out.
That's what I've done with Marvel Universe 3 3/4-inch figures, trying to figure out how they came into which case and all that kind of stuff.
Well, there you go. But the thing and not like in the case of Marvel Universe, though, Marvel Universe, you rarely have overlap. Very rarely. It's always, where in the case of Transformers, there's always carryovers. So like you keep going to the same Toys R Us over and over and over, and you keep seeing Rhinox, and you go, they only have Rhinox. But little did you know that one time that you went and you saw Rhinox, it actually was a different case assortment Rhinox, and that was the one that had Whirl and Double Dealer in it. And I know it sounds crazy to go, okay, I have to check every Rhinox's case assortment number to see a variation, but that's one way to tell for like really hardcore people. And if you want to know what the case assortments actually link to, like what the numbers mean, there's a great website called earthentertainment.com which deals in buying cases of toys, and they list every case assortment number on it. So if you're an iPhone person, you could go on there and go, okay, if a Rhinox says 4317 on it, it was the case assortment that has Double Dealer in it. So
that's cool.
Little fun fact for people that are willing to go that far instead of
and
just
speaking
waiting.
of carryovers.
Back to the movies though, real quick, the movie line and how it's gonna supposedly explode. This is, from what we've heard so far, this doesn't seem to really be like like Dark of the Moon. Dark of the Moon was a freaking 8-9 wave movie line in which we only saw 6 waves, 5 or 6 waves.
Oh God, not even. I think Dark of the Moon was 3 waves. You had the initial launch. You had the second launch, which also kind of had all that New Year's stuff. The year of the, I think it was Year of the Dragon. Yeah, had the year, like that was that second wave, and then they had the final wave, which just had, and then there was the 4th wave, which was that weird one that only appeared in Australia, and like
Soundwave,
Human Alliance, Leadfoot,
even Deluxe Leadfoot,
weird wave essentially, and that was it. I think there was only 4 waves. It was a very short one.
Really? Because I know the reason I was asking is because there was the store exclusive waves.
Well, that's kind of different. Those store exclusives are just their own thing.
Yeah.
Like if a Walmart, not Walmart, but let's say like a Target gets a store exclusive something, it doesn't really count as a wave. It's a separate case that they get standalone that they order.
Yeah, I mean the reason I was asking is I know like there just seemed like there was so much as far as Dark of the Moon was concerned, whereas thus far it's like this whole 3 waves thing seems really short, and I don't know if it's because Transformers Prime and the whole Beast Hunters thing together was a pretty large line. I mean, at least I considered it a large line.
I think that by the time we got to Dark of the Moon, a lot of people were tired of Transformers. Like people who came in onto this and then kind of got out of it, and so Hasbro probably saw the sales, probably backed off a little bit and cut it short. That's part of the reason why we probably lost a lot of those toys, and they only got very limited releases, like the Soundwave and the Leadfoot. where Transformers Prime was having difficulty with moving the bumblebees and everything, and that was clogging the shelves. That was something that was like a carryover from First Edition for the people who still got First Edition. Then when the Robots in Disguise came out, there was all those bumblebees.
Editions was clogging the shelves?
The bumblebees of it specifically.
Okay, I did.
At one point, they actually had stickers that were put on the card backs you get a $5 discount right away with the bumblebees. I remember seeing that.
Really?
Wow. Yeah,
that's nice.
It was pretty bad, and so that probably hurt sales and stuff. And they look at that. The retailers look at that and they go, "Wow, the Dark of the Moon stuff isn't moving very well." The Prime stuff, which was out at the time, was having that difficulty with the Sea of Yellow, as we called it. So I'm pretty sure Hasbro's like, we're going to kind of cut this one short. And again, it had a lot of gimmicky stuff, and Hasbro was also just going into that Creo thing, so they wanted to focus on other things. And let's try these Constructabots. Let's try this Creo line. We're going to try this and that, and we're doing a video game. And Generations was still kind of in full swing, but not really having solid cases of stuff, because I think it was the second wave of Generations at the time, which was still Fall of Cybertron stuff. Not Fall of Cybertron, War for Cybertron stuff. So it's just, it's gonna be interesting to see. This one has hype because it's the Dinobots. It's the thing that a lot of the casual fans want. Every casual fan knows Grimlock, so there's more of that excitement for it. No, hey, it's dinosaurs. People dig dinosaurs, So I think that there's gonna be more of a demand, and the sales might do well. But I might be speaking too soon. You have to wait and see at this point. We really do, because as it stands right now, no one's ripping them off the shelves right now, and my Toys R Us has been fully stocked for about 5 or 6 days. I've visited it twice already, and nothing has been disappearing, where I know 2007 stuff was back in the day, but that was a different story back then. The hype is not as big anymore, so it's going to be an individual thing for sure. I think everyone's going to have their own experience and see how it's going to go down.
Yeah, because like I said, the one Walmart in my area that got a case of deluxes, I picked up a Scorn, a Slug, or Slag or whatever, and then Grimlock, and I go back and I told like one buddy of mine. I said, look, man, if you're looking for this stuff, it's at this Walmart. So I just picked up, 2 of the deluxes. Now I didn't pick up Crosshairs. I went back today and picked up Crosshairs just because, I like Chevys. And I went back there and there's literally that one Crosshairs that I put back, or Crosscut, whatever his name is.
Crosshair.
He was there was that one that was on the shelf. Someone came in and got the 2 Bumblebees, the other deluxes, and left, I guess, that one.
Well, but in the case of Walmart, it was probably very slim pickings to begin with. Like you said, it was probably that one case that was cracked open. So, kids are going to buy it, moms are going to buy it. I'm really more curious how those big wall of Toys R Us displays are going to do.
Yeah.
That's the ones I'm more curious about. Those are the ones that are going to be the real measuring stick, because those are the ones that are stacked. Everything is there, ready to go, front and center. Like how you go into your Toys R Us and they have that featured section for whatever new movie is out or something. It's there right now. That's where all the movie stuff is. It's not in your boys' toys next to your X-Men and Ninja Turtles. It's right there, getting all the attention. And I'm curious how that shit's gonna do. I'm really curious.
Well, I'm worried then if the movie toys don't sell as well, and they start carrying over, then Jetfire, Roadbuster, all these new generation waves are going to be pushed back or going to disappear. I
don't think it's going to affect the Generations line, because the main reason also why Hasbro changes the names of sublines is to trick retailers. That's what it's the truth. That's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll do a Beast Hunters, not so much because the show is changing its name because of its format. It's also because it refreshes the retailers who have been buying Transformers Prime up to this point, 3 waves of it. So for them to go, now a 4th wave of this, but if you go, oh no, now we got our Beast Hunters line, to them it's something fresh and new, and they pick it up. So it's the same thing. When this movie is fully out, Generations is going to be dead in the water for a good 2 to 3 months. by the time they're going to get back to Generations, regardless if the movie is successful or not, I mean, you have to understand, Roadbuster's toy has been engineered. It's been put in packaging. The instructions have been done. This toy is ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something that it's like a G1 RC or something where it's like it hasn't gotten past a certain production stage or packaging or everything. This thing is ready to go. It's sitting in a warehouse somewhere. So it's just a matter of time for the right time for the cases to be sent out. So I don't think that's going to delay it. I think that if anything, if the movie doesn't do well and the line bombs, all it means is that Dark of the Moon is going to be cut short. There's going to be toys that we would have gotten that are going to get that Leadfoot Soundwave scenario, and then we're going to get Generations early, which will probably be good news for some people. I mean, that's the only way that I could really see it, because that's what happened with Generations also before. I mean, Dark of the Moon was cut short. It didn't do well as they'd hoped, and rightfully so, because it was really all over the place. I mean, the whole Human Alliance line was totally disconnected from the movie. I mean, it was cool, the line. Don't get me wrong. I liked the concept. It was very mask, as I like to call it. You know, it was very mask.
Yeah.
Very mask and concept. You know, it's like a human with a vehicle that transforms into something else. You know, they had the Stealth Force line that totally bombed for Dark of the Moon. You know, you had motorcycle, you pull it and it doesn't even transform, and now it's a motorcycle with guns. You know, like, again, very mask, but not something that's Transformers. And all that stuff did horrible. It didn't do well, and so retailers were just like, we don't want anything to do with this Dark of the Moon property. So right away they went back into Generations, and Transformers Beast Hunters rolled around at that point. So
yeah, and we have the animated series coming out next year.
Well, that's just it. So I think the only thing that would be the filler outside the movie would be Generations. Yeah. Hasbro's not going to have the shelves empty. They're going to have to put something out there, and they'll bump up Generations if they have to. And if there's one thing that we're always guaranteed in general, Generations sells. It always sells. And it's funny, and it's always something that's not supported by fiction that's currently on television or whatever. I mean, again, ignoring comic books because they might as well not exist to some people. But it always sells. There's always, you know, yeah, you might go to your one Toys R Us and, oh man, there's those 5 Rhinoxes and 4, you know, Waspinators. But it still sells that line. It still does well. And it's weird. It's the only line that I never see go on clearance. I never see it get. It never gets a rollback. It never gets a $5 for deluxes here or a 2-for-1. It only gets a discount if it's like all Voyagers 25% off Toys R Us thing.
Yeah.
But it never gets an individual clearance thing. Why? Because they know that it sells well, and that sooner or later it does move. There's a big demand for it. There's a nostalgic demand for it. The funny thing is, I bet you kids and parents are still buying those Generations toys because it's the internet era. You're having 7-year-old to 10-year-old kids who are the target market for the mainline stuff going on YouTube and watching an episode of G1. You know, it's so but it's reality. It's so accessible now. So that it's very easy for them to go back. I remember when I went to BotCon, I was helping one of the TFCon guys work a table, and this guy brought his kid over, and this kid was like naming off all the G1 toys that we had on the table. And it was like, and then I asked him, I was saying like, wow, I'm so impressed. How does your kid know all that? He's like, he watches G1 on YouTube. And I was like, there you go.
That's cool.
You know, to add to that, my sister's friend's son, who's about 11, his mother bought him that stealth bomber Megatron, and he was always coming to me to have it to transform it for him. Now I have a box of some old G1 toys. He could transform it easily. He loved those.
Yeah, and there's an appeal to it. There is. Like, again, people don't realize that kids aren't really watching TV as much as they used to. It's a different generation now. They're going on YouTube and watching stuff. And I'll tell you something. It's a lot easier to find a G1 episode or a Beast Wars episode on YouTube than the latest Transformer Prime episode.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that get pulled down right away by Hasbro Hub or whatever. So
hard to tell finding Beast Machines though. That's a real life struggle.
But the irony was, I was transforming some Beast Machine toys today. But anyways, like, it's just they're seeing that now. There's a demand for it. Now it's not just us looking at Goldbug and going, we want that toy. Now there's kids that have that association with it and wanting to pick it up too. Same thing with Waspinator and Rhinox. I mean, Hasbro would not make a Rhinox toy in that price point if they weren't confident enough
that
it
would sell.
It would sell, exactly. Yeah. I mean, think about it. G1 is a big market, has a big nostalgia, but Beast Wars, while it's still popular and I still think it's great, it's still kind of niche with really just a 90s generation. So to put it at a $29.99 or $21.99 Voyager price point, depending on what country you're from, is a big risk for a character like Rhinox that isn't a Megatron that turns into a tank, or an Optimus that turns into a truck. It's not even a leader character, and it's not even a character that, popular character to Beast Wars fans, but really, who is he on the big spectrum of things? He's not a Dinobot that's named after a pre-existing character or a Scorponok. He's Rhinox that they had to register the name for specifically just for Rhinox.
Yeah.
Like from a marketing standpoint, it was like a big risk, but yet they did it because they're confident in Generations line. It sells, and not to mention that mold. Think about it. What do you do with Rhinox after? What do you do?
Designs.
You do dark design Rhinox. That's literally about it. Or paint his eyes red, and now it's Call of the Wild Rhinox. There's really not much you could do with Rhinox. So for them to make the effort for the engineering and everything to do that shows they have confidence in the way that line sells. They do. They really do. And I mean, there was that recent leak that we had from Japan where they were showing those Generation toys that are coming out. Well, the rumor is it's going to be a fan vote or something. I heard. You guys know what I'm talking about here? Where it's like
fan votes always work out great.
Yeah, Wingblade.
Well, no, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Back, masterpiece.
That Go Shooter.
Yeah, we talked about that on the Cybercast.
Okay.
The Alpha Trion and those.
But that's what I mean. It shows that there's a big demand for that kind of stuff. There's a big, especially from Japan, especially from Japan.
Yeah. Yeah, I know for a fact my son loves to watch G1, but he gravitates towards the Japanese series, even though he doesn't, understand it. He likes the story, and he likes the characters, and he likes the way it comes across on the screen. And I mean, he's only 6 years old too, but.
Well, it's more colorful. It's more cliche. Japanese writing is always more cliche. There's a great emphasis on the transformations because of stock footage, and so a lot of kids appeal to that. To see the transformation done. Given a good 30 seconds focusing on it. So I mean, there's always an appeal to children with that kind of storytelling. The Japanese storytelling in general. It's been like that consistently since Master Force, essentially.
Yeah.
So your son likes Star Saber?
Hmm?
I was just asking Victory Saber there if his son likes Star Saber.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he likes Victory, but
what series does he seem to like the most? Just out of curiosity.
Master Force.
He likes
Master Force. He likes Metal Hawk. He loves Metal Hawk.
That's really interesting.
Wow.
I would have not guessed that. Huh.
Me neither.
Yeah. He likes Metal Hawk because I guess.
And he likes the most expensive toy. Oh man.
Well, I'm glad I have it.
Get him a Metal Hawk to mess with. You get him that little PC there, I guess. Yeah.
But he likes the relationship between him and Shuta and the other Master Force juniors.
Okay, the Shihobu characters. See, and that makes sense because it's the Shihobu characters that are The Japanese love creating the young human characters that are made for that target market. So that's interesting because that is what it's supposed to be. Is that Shuta exists for that purpose? Jan in Victory existed for that purpose. Daniel in Headmasters. You had Kane and oh God, what was the name of the other kid that was in Zone? They have that purpose too. It just that's cool that's actually why he enjoys it. That's very interesting. It's gonna go in my head now. Someone likes Master Force for that purpose. That's cool.
Yeah, I told him I'll never buy him a Metal Hawk. I'm sorry. I'll buy him the Bacon maybe, but
Yeah,
I'll never buy him.
The Bacon one is probably about as cheap as, well, aside from the PVC, the Bacon one's probably about as cheap as it's going to get.
Yeah, he looks at mine and he's like, "Dad, that's Metal Hawk." I was like, "Yeah, you're not touching it.
You're not touching that one.
You're not gonna
Not
transform
touching that one. Like,
No, it's a nice. You
until
know,
they make a CM, what is it called, the CM Corp.
They went bankrupt.
Yeah, until they do one of him, which unfortunately they won't because they stopped doing them. But
yeah.
until they do something like that, no, he's gonna have to deal.
Yeah, that's the one problem I have with watching the older G1 stuff, whether it's the stuff from Hasbro or the Japanese line, is that my son will be like, "Oh, I like that. Can we go to Toys R Us and get one?" He doesn't he gets the fact that we can't at times readily available, but he's like, "Oh, I want that character. I like, let's say, Six Shot." And it's like, "Dad, you have that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do." It's like, "I want to get one." I'm like, "Oh man, Then I tell my wife, "Yeah, your son wants this. It's gonna cost about $1,000."
And your wife probably tells you it's your fault.
And I'm like,
and eventually he figures out that Dad's credit card is attached to the eBay account.
Yeah, I know my dad's PayPal account.
And then you teach him third party, and he's like, I don't even need Six Shot. I need that Hexatron. That's even more.
Yeah. So.
And there you go.
But it is fun. It's pretty cool.
I get it, but actually, to give you a lot of those PVC figures are kind of articulated. The Mega PVC, not Mega PVC, SCF PVC series, which was known as Heroes of Cybertron. They're kind of like little action figure kind of stuff. They have articulation, so he can get a Metal Hawk through that, a Six Shot also, and those are relatively cheap. They're like $10 a piece. Some of them on eBay.
Yeah, I might look for those at BotCon.
Yeah, that's one option for them. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah. Switching topics. Any other stuff you guys want to kind of go over? Masterpiece, lineup, or anything?
They announced someone was looking at the engineering of the Ultra Magnus, and there's rumors now that supposedly. Because we know right now that the engineering for the Masterpiece Ultra Magnus is going to be one piece. He's going to be a one-piece transformation.
Yeah.
But now there's rumors, because people are seeing in the engineering that the cab for the one-piece transformation is removable to one day be used for a future standalone White Optimus Prime. That's a rumor right now. But because people are seeing it, these are the people that, and I actually kind of believe it too, because these are the same people that they literally stare at images of Masterpiece toys and try to figure out how the toys go together. And these were like the same guys that figured out like Rodimus, and they figured out Starscream all the way back. Like they really break down how the engineering. No, because you look at the grayscale images; those actually give you a better idea because you don't get distracted by the colors.
Colors, yeah.
And you're really able to figure out, okay, this is where the windshield's going to stow, this is going to be a faux chest or whatever. And now the prediction is that the cab is actually going to be removable, and there's going to be a White Optimus that we're probably going to get down the line that could go with it also, which is crazy when you think about it. But that's pretty cool. I read that in one of the threads on TFW. And
we went over that in the Cybercast too, that we showed the pictures of the cab kind of extending out, and it looks like it's removable and all that. But how much is that white, MP10 gonna cost?
Who knows?
Down the road.
Who knows? Well, you know what? It might be cheaper because it won't have a trailer with it. So.
True.
It might be.
It'd be the price of a black convoy.
Yeah, we have the black convoy, the bathing ape, the neon.
Oh God, the bathing ape.
I'm getting the bathing ape.
Why? No one bought the one. Why is anyone gonna buy this one?
I'm getting that. I'm getting the black convoy, and I'm gonna get that whatever crossover Eva, whatever. If they come out with that purple one.
There's another one. That Ava Optimus.
Yeah.
Of all the mecha series is to have a
cross it over with. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
Mecha series
you all watch your whore mouths.
Oh, come on.
Hey!
No.
Beginning to end all those years ago, okay? And
really?
If there's every mecha series that exists up to this point had some kind of transformation stuff. Ava's the one that didn't. Number 2, Ava's scale is so out of it of Transformers on top of that. Gundam could work in some, not in all cases, but in some cases. But Ava, everything
Ava
is
not work. Like you're. It's getting personal.
More like
no, I know about Ava too. If I'm gonna hate on something, I gotta know about it. So let's do this. Go ahead.
All right. So how would Ava be out of scale? Like how would the Transformers be out of scale with the Avas?
Well, here's the thing. From what I read about the story, they're talking about how the angels are involved in stuff. Every angel up to this point, with the exception of like 1 or 2 in Ava, has been ridiculously huge.
Oh yeah, the angels are huge, but the Avas aren't.
Like not even like Devastator, way beyond that.
Yeah.
Way beyond like.
That's the angels though. Like we're not talking the Avas. The Avas are about Transformers.
The story that because they've put a story online where they're trying to explain this, and it's just like I don't know how this is going to work because I mean for anyone here who's even familiar with Ava. I mean, the whole thing with Ava, where it was an organic thing, and now Optimus Prime is involved with that. I think that when they crossed over Ava, they didn't really read the source material before they did it. It was one of those things where they probably saw the first 4 episodes and said, "This is really cool. Maybe we should cross this over."
What if they're going off of the new rebooted Evangelion?
The new movies. It's possible. That's probably the reason why they even visited. To begin with, because prior to that, Ava didn't really have much out of, Asuka and Rey girly action figures for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's what crappy Kyoto figures.
That's what kept that whole fandom alive for the past 20 years is just girly figures.
Fellas, I know I'm a little bit behind, but wait a minute. You mean tell me Evangelion's been rebooted?
Oh my goodness! Like
they did 3 movies where not only did they reboot, but they kind of redid the story again and introduced a new female character to, in my opinion, to sell more merchandise of girly figures. Because it's like, well, we have the quiet girl, we have the Sunder girl who's all bitchy and everything. Now we need a girl with glasses. We got to get all those fetishes together. Nato's the older chick, so we get that market. Like. The MILF is so we're trying to get everything here, and I don't know. I think that with all the mecha franchises that they could have crossed over with, I think also it's because they don't want to mess with Gundam because that's Bandai, so they don't want to go there. Ava, while they've worked with Bandai with their exclusives, with their model kits in the past, it's not directly tied to Bandai. So I think that's part of the reason why they went with it. They couldn't have gone with any of the Super Robot stuff. They couldn't have gone with Mazinger, Dimos, Getter Robo, because all tied to Bandai again. Very tied to Bandai. So I think that in the end they were just like, well, what is huge that's mecha?
That's messed up.
That isn't tied, and they were probably like, well, Ava up to this point on a merchandising level has always been done by Zebek did some of the figures. A lot of the, and again, 99% of Ava merchandise is Asuka and Rey stuff, whether it be them in bikinis or them in, pajamas, and none of that is Bandai. That's always like Kotobukiya or some girly action figure company thing. So they probably found Ava and were like, here's a big mecha franchise that we could do a crossover with that isn't tied with Bandai. That's the only explanation I could figure out.
And that's too bad.
If they had a choice, I don't think they would have went with Ava. I think that the fiction and the existing universe of Ava with Tokyo 2, the Second Impact, and God from the Jewish Bible just does not mesh. Doesn't mesh well with Transformers and Primus. And
they should have done Full Metal Panic. I would have loved to have seen that.
And Full Metal Panic is something that has merchandise that is third party.
Oh, yeah, it's Bandai,
It's also
Robot Wars.
That's the problem.
I forgot about that.
I think that they really I'm not saying they really searched out to do this beforehand, but I think that they really looked at their licensing before they decided on this. Because to my knowledge, with Ava, the only stuff that's ever been Bandai is the model kits. That's it. Everything else with Ava, because they did a bunch of figurines that were done by Zebek, which were interchangeable hands and guns and stuff, and with the Angels and the Ava units.
There was the Kyoto stuff. There was the Revoltech stuff.
Revoltech, exactly. Yeah. The Revoltech stuff also. So it's just, and Revoltech has had Transformers. It's had Gundams. It's had Super Robots. It's had everything. It's had
Macross.
Toy Story.
It's had everything. So
Everything.
that was a safe direction to go with. But it seems weird. It just if I had a choice, like what could I cross Transformers with? I mean, I think that it would be like Gundam, but even I'm saying UC Century Gundam, like the old school Gundam stuff, because that's something where it worked with G.I. Joe because it's humans in a war fighting against robots. So now you'd have humans fighting in a war, but they got their own giant mechas, and it would work out really well.
And I know the perfect plot point for it too.
I'm not saying Gundam Wing. I'm not saying crazy ass Gundam Wing with the overpowered Gundams. I'm saying something as much as I like Gundam Wing, to keep it more grounded and realistic, use the old 0079, 0080, 0083 Gundams that were a lot more realistic, heavy, military, and have Optimus Prime fight alongside with them or against them or whatever. That would be more interesting.
Funny thing about
I dig that a lot.
Funny thing about that is, I had already thought of the plot point, how that could happen. Star Saber or Diatlas crash lands on Earth.
Well, I could even see, just if they want to keep it even simple, just Decepticons, like if it's its own continuity. Decepticons raid Earth, the Autobots show up, they team up with the Federation, the Zeons make a deal with Megatron or something. For anyone who knows Gundam, I'm probably going off a rail here and going, what the fuck is he talking about? But, through Megatron, they engineer the Big Zam or any kind of crazy new type stuff. There's a lot more of that universe that meshes better. The second you bring in Ava's universe. I mean, Ava is one of those series that even hardcore fans can't explain really what happened. They can't really. Like that's
the only reason why is because the original ending was like a clusterfuck, and the death and the
rebirth.
Death and rebirth.
Lost you there. Ava killed you, man.
So God shows up.
No, it's with the ACL fluid and just there's so much deep religious stuff in it that it's just like when you bring the Transformers mythos into that, trying to mesh that with it is the same way how when Marvel in the first few issues of Transformers tried to mesh it with the Marvel universe. Oh, the Dinobots were in the Savage Land, and like I mean they phased that out very quickly when they realized that's not going to work when the grand scale of things starts happening. So why not just send in the Avengers to stop the Decepticons?
See the cover that they were actually doing a what if the Transformers crossed over with the DC universe.
Well, the funny thing is that when they were doing the adaptation of the 86 movie for the comic books, they were working on a what if issue for the 86 movie, and that's what ended up becoming the final product for the Transformers adaptation. If you read the original Marvel run of the Transformers movie adaptation from 1986, it was a what if Rodimus didn't interfere.
Oh, I watched that book.
Yeah. And
I want
he didn't
that book.
interfere. Prime still died.
What?
Yep. Still died. He still dies. What happens is Megatron picks up the gun and then goes, you're a fool for believing it, and still shoots him dead. So it didn't make a difference. And it was going to be a short one shot because how the Marvel What If books, how they worked is you had a bulk story, and then at the end of the book they'd always do like a 3-page small what if story. It originally was just going to be a 3 small-page what if story that then ballooned into what was the full 3-issue comic book series instead. Little fun fact there.
Comic book is just in script form?
Yeah, essentially.
I don't know if you guys were able to catch the rest of what I said.
No. Go ahead, man.
The deal with this newer reboot, it seems like it's all making a lot more sense than the original run, and the kind of redo that the Evangelion series had. So.
Well, there was a lot more explanation with Eve. There was a lot more, that was something I saw all 3 movies, and right away with the first movie, they made a big they went out of their way to explain a lot of stuff early.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, which was because I remember I think in the first movie they introduced Eve not right away, but very early into it, where in the TV series we don't learn about it until much later.
Yeah, and then
halfway through.
And then all the you know, the rate at which the Angels came was so much quicker, and then just the way things changed up and the way story changed and so on and so forth.
Well, what's his name who created it? Mr. Always Depressed.
No shit.
Yeah. Again, which also explains that whole series, but he had 20 years to clean that shit up. You know what I mean? Like, so it would kind of be understandable that would come about, but I just don't see it with Transformers. I just don't. And I mean we've seen that Optimus Prime looking Ava thing, like I don't know, the aesthetic just.
I thought that was hilarious. I thought I want it. They said it was a joke, but I want it.
He looks like Shattered Glass Optimus.
It's so weird. It really.
Oh, you're talking about the purple and green.
Yeah.
He's talking about the colorization.
I thought you were talking about the Optimus Prime colored Ava #1. I was like, man, do I want that?
He's talking about the that Optimus Ava thingy. Like, it's just I don't see it working. Like, I mean, it's going to happen. They're going to do fiction for it, and it's going to be crazy, and it'll be some text fiction that'll probably come with the figure that they'll release down the line, much like
So Dakota, before we, sorry Victory, I'm just gonna make this quick. In order to get a gist of what's going on in the reboot, do I need to see all 3 movies in a row, or they all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. That's all. It's just 3 movies that you just got to watch. That's it.
There's one more coming out, I believe.
Yeah. Conclusion is the 4th. Yeah.
So it's not gonna be one of those things where you see one movie and then the next movie kind of like totally disregards the other.
No.
Okay.
No.
Movie.
It's what they used to do. It's a new trend in Japan they're doing now, where they're kind of taking old franchises,
like Dragon Ball Z.
Like they did with Fist of the North Star recently too, where it's like, well, here's a show that's dated, but it's still a classic, and we want to bring it to the modern era, but make it look, you know, they did that with Fist of the North Star, Hokuto no Ken, where they pretty much took that whole series that spans like 98 episodes or even more, and they did like 4 movies in really good quality, retelling the story and changing up things for pace and to make things better. Especially any shonen fighting series also has a long pace, so they try to make it as short as possible and speed up things. So it's the same thing. Ava was one of those things that was always a big money maker, always made a lot of money, always was #1 in best anime lists in different circles and stuff. I might argue it, but facts are facts. I will argue it, but it's still a fact. You know, like I'm not crazy about Ava, but I'll admit what's the truth, you know? And the thing is that they knew that there's money to be made here, and obviously when the Bay movies came out in Japan, it created this humongous resurgence for Transformers in Japan. It's always been in Japan, but Japan loves Hollywood. They like gaijin, hey-ho, white Hollywood cowboy hat, you know? So they want more Transformer stuff. Take one of their big franchises that's huge in Akihabara and with the otaku crowd in Japan, mesh those 2 together, and you'll get something at least. That's why Kiss Play existed. Kiss Play was created because they did marketing. They're like, what do Transformer collectors also collect? And they checked, and they're like, they collect Transformer toys and girly statuette action figures like Ava, you know? And then they're like, well, why don't we put the 2 together? And they first did a line called Vinyltech Asterix, which ran 3 figures, and that did very well. And then they were going to do a 4th one, which was going to be Ginrai and Marissa, and instead they turned it into what Kiss Play is today. And Kiss Play, the reason why it was so crazy was because the artist was actually a fan of Transformers that was a hentai artist. Like, if you do the research on the guy who drew Kiss Play, Hirudo Gororo, he was a fan doshinji hentai artist who really liked Transformers. And then it's like, here, imagine you give a guy who does porn and it's like, here, you're going to do the next Transformers series. Something's not going to go right. You know? So, and that's why it went the way it did. You know, it went in that direction, and the whole fandom wants to act like it never existed. But I mean, so it's the same thing. They did marketing. They probably figured, you know, Ava's a hot topic. If we put the 2 together, we'll sell some figures in multi-million-dollar numbers.
Also, real quick, just on Ava, movie 3 is going to blow your mind. Just
I hope it does for him, because I mean, for me it was good. It was a lot better than the original series. I mean, it's the same way why Death and Rebirth existed, because they wanted to fix the first mess up from.
Yeah.
It was weird because they wanted to fix the mistake from the series, and in the end, they ended up making it a little worse, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It just opened up a whole new, can of worms.
Yeah.
That second explanation. So.
I don't know.
Anyways, I don't want to go too much on Ava. People are probably going like, ugh.
Movie 3 though, it just the
Chinese animated series these guys are talking about.
Gosh.
Anyway.
All right. Let's see. We've been going on for a little about an hour and a half, so we're probably going to end it here just because, we can talk afterwards. But thanks for all the live viewers for watching. I really do appreciate it. Remember, every Saturday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, check it out live on my channel. If you guys want to out yourselves, starting with you, Charles.
I'm Charles. You can find me on Twitter at Optimus4Prez, and Xbox Live is AutoCon365.
All right. Chris?
I'm Chris. You can find me at Barrett Prime Games on YouTube, Facebook, and just random games. Look up Barrett Prime. Chances are it's probably me.
All right. And Dakota.
I'm Dakota, PrimalSabbath at everything.
And Protoman.
Protoman X on Twitter, Proto Retro on YouTube, Protoman Gaming for my gaming YouTube channel, and Protoman on TFCon and TFW and every other major Transformer website.
And Jay.
You can find me on Twitter at NemesisJazz13.
And Trans5.
Okay, you can find me on Facebook, Trans5, and on Twitter at Trans5.
Sweet. And I'm James. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, VictorySaber77. Be sure check out our website. Become a member. It's free at www.CybercastNetwork.com. Follow us on Twitter, CybercastNet. And Josh was with us, but dropped out. He had some stuff he had to take care of. But you can follow him and check him out. He is G1 Hexatron on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, the G1 Hexatron on Facebook, and I think that's it for him. But yeah, so there you go. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll catch you next week.